Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Untitled Chapter, and today I'm going to be showing you a step-by-step guide on how to design the Smart Personal Budget template. This may take more than one episode. We see how things will go. So let's get going. All right. So first thing, you need to have your data set up in this way. So you have your date, category, and amount. Okay, and you can get this from your bank account maybe, or you can input them manually. All right, so let's go ahead and format our range as a table. Okay, so my table has headers indeed. Keep this checked and press OK. And the next thing you go ahead and do is change the table name from table 1 to something meaningful, which is expenses. After that, we add two columns. The first column is we need to calculate the month for each date that we have. And to do that, we use the month function and we select the serial number to be the adjacent date in the same row there. Okay, and we hit OK. So we get the month number. Okay, and then we calculate the year for the same date as well. So basically the transaction date, we need to know in which year it happened. Okay, so as you can see here, it's calculated and correctly done. All right, some other things we would like to have is our starting balance. It's basically your how much money you got when you started using the template, because all of this is going to be based on this number. Okay, because most likely you will not start bankrupt. Anyway, so let's assume that is 4,000. Okay, and the next thing you need to calculate here is your total income. Okay, and to calculate it, you use SUMF. Okay, SUMF is basically a filter, and we already have a video about that explains it in detail. So we're going to filter this range based on the income criteria. So we want to filter it on the word income, and we want to sum, after we filter that table, we want to sum this column, and this is it. And as you can see here, this is the total income that we have in this table here. Okay, and the total expenses is basically the opposite. Okay, we do a SUMF, but basically anything that doesn't equal income. So we say SUMF, and we select the range to be the category, and the criteria is going to be anything between quotation mark has to be anything that's not equal. So this is the not equal sign. So this is anything that does not equal income, filter the table on it. Okay, and the sum range is going to be the same as we did before. It's the amount column. All right, so this is your total expenses here. Now the last thing we need to calculate here for this operation is the current balance. Okay, and it's gonna be basically the starting balance plus total income minus total expenses. All right, and this is your current balance as it stands at the moment. Something so you can get an idea on what's happening here. We have data from 2016 and up to 2017 this month, November. Okay, so just to have an idea on the data that we have. And after a few years, this will expand, of course, and become maybe 4 years. And this is where your calculation should always take that into account and filter correctly. So let's go ahead and change the name for this sheet to be input. Okay, so let's add another sheet and name it dashboard. Okay, so the dashboard here is gonna be used to show the stuff that you care about, the stuff that you want to see to get insights on your data. So what you need to have here is the graphs, the small tables that tells you the story of your expenditure. Okay, so the first thing I would like to have an idea on is how much money I spent on each category, but I don't want to do that for all the years that I used the template for. I would like to know how much I spend on each category for this month. In this month, I would like to know how much I spent. I would like to have an idea also on how much I spent previous month. Okay, because that gives me an idea on, am I improving? Am I spending more money or less money compared to last month? Okay, and I would like also to have an idea in the same place how much, I spent since the beginning of the year, basically year to date. Okay, so to do that, you need to have the categories written only one time. So something I always like to use is, if you have a lot of data here, as you can see, it's 700 records, just copy all the categories here, and there are a lot of duplicates there, but we can remove them. So this is what we're going to do here. So we paste them here. We format this table, format this range as a table, and this time we don't have any headers. So Excel gave us column 1 as a header, and we change it to be category. Okay, and we changed the table name from table 2 to category as categories. Okay, so this is our table. All right, so the what is left to do is to remove the duplicates. You end up with 9 unique values only. Okay, so now you add 3 columns. The first column is called this month. The second column is going to be named previous month. Okay, and the last one is going to be named year to date expenses or amount. Let's say amount. Much easier. Okay, because you have income. Anyway, so let's calculate the total expenses and income for this month. So to do that, we use some F again, some Fs, because we have more than one criteria to filter on. And the sum range is going to be the amount column in the expenses table. So we write expenses. So we get the table name and we get the amount column. Okay, so this is what we want to sum. We're going to filter on the categories column. Okay, in the expenses table, and the criteria we want to filter on is going to be this category in the same row that we're writing the formula. Okay, the second criteria is going to be, we need to filter because we want the data to be filtered on this month. So we need to have our filter to be this month. So the range is going to be same expenses table. And this time we're going to choose the month column. Okay, this is what we want to filter on. And the value we want to filter this column on is going to be a calculated value, which always finds out what's the current month. Okay, so to do that is to calculate the month for today. So today function gets you the today's date. The month function gives you the month for today's date, and that is used as a criteria to filter the month column in the expenses table. Okay, but if you only filter on the month, then the problem is going to arise when you have more than 1 year in your data, because it will sum November with November, December with December, stuff like that. And this is not what you want. You want to calculate the values for the current month in the current year. So that's why we need to add another criteria, which is for the year column. For the year column, we want to filter it on the year of today. Okay. The year of today. Okay. And this is the end of our calculation. So we have 3 filters here. Okay. All right. So this is the first thing. Okay. Previous month is basically the same functions that we used here. The only thing different is the month. So we're going to copy the same function. Okay. We're going to copy the same function. It's the month for today is going to be the current month. Okay, so if we subtract 1 from the current month, it's going to be the previous month. Okay, and I know there will be a bug when the month or the current month is January. So what you can do, you can specify an if error, function to just deal with that, okay? But just leave it the way it is at the moment. We're not too concerned about it. Okay, so this is the, so basically we use the same functions as we use for this month. The only thing is when we filter with for the current month, we subtract one from it. So we go to the previous month. So the filter will be applied to the previous month. Okay, so the last thing you need to have here in this table is the year-to-date expenses and income. Okay, so to do that, use some F's again. Okay, and the sum range is going to be the same amount column in the expenses table. And the criteria range is going to be first the expenses category, and the criteria is going to be the category here, and the second criteria range is going to be the it's going to be the year, because we're no longer concerned about the month. What we want to have an idea on is the expenses and income for the current year. Okay, all right, so okay, so the expenses, okay, we filtered the year column with the year for today. Okay, and this is it. This is what we want to have. And off we go. And as you can see here now, this gives us the year-to-date amount that we spend on each category here, and also the income year-to-date. Okay, so until now, this is what we had as an income. All right. So something we can also add here is to do some formatting just to make it look a little bit better. So now things starts to be a little bit interesting. As you can see here, you can see how much money you spent on this month compared to the previous month. So you can immediately see what's going on. I know some of you might say, okay, you can do this with pivot tables. Yes, I agree. You can do this with pivot table very easily. But the problem with pivot tables is you always need to refresh them. Okay. And, I would like to, whenever I can, I get, stuff calculated automatically without the need for refresh. And also it looks much better. Okay, so this brings us to the end of today's video and the first episode. So we'll see how it goes, and keep an eye on the channel for the upcoming episode, and we will see how we go from there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you.